The security camera makes it seem like a robbery, but this was a state-sponsored break-in. Get on the floor, screamed the men in masks and military fatigues. Security service personnel surprised opposition activists here and in more than 40 other spots across Russia, including Vladivostok, where they took a chainsaw to get into one office. The target of the raids was the political network of anti-corruption crusader and Putin arch-rival Alexei Navalny. It's obvious that the operation of this magnitude could be authorized only by Vladimir Putin, because United Russia lost a lot of seats, he said. Putin's United Russia suffered significant losses in last weekend's municipal elections, and though Navalny's supporters were disqualified, his call for people to choose anyone except a Kremlin-backed candidate appears to have resonated. The capital was rocked all summer by street protests leading up to the vote, with mass arrests and some protesters thrown in jail for years. Critics accuse the government of resorting to Stalin-era tactics to quash dissent. We'll continue our fight against election fraud, vowed an activist today in St. Petersburg. This analyst with close ties to the Kremlin offered up a predictable characterization of Putin's opponents, suggesting Navalny is a traitor and the crackdown is justified.
Everybody knows that Alexei Navalny is political agent of United States government, who claims that Russia is enemy of the United States.
Pro-Putin commentators always point out how insignificant Navalny is and that the West gives him far too much credit, suggesting he probably is a far greater worry than the Kremlin would ever admit. Chris Brown, CBC News, Moscow.
Now, today, interestingly, I had a chance to sit down with Garry Kasparov, Kremlin critic, pro-democracy activist, also happens to be one of the best chess players of all time. His take on the raids today in Russia: Vladimir Putin is running out of moves.
There are always games they could play. They could blame, the fifth column in the country. They could blame enemies outside of the country. But now he's dealing with young population, with just a lot of people that are just in their 20s that see no future with Putin. Putin is there for 20 years, and they want to understand how they can make their lives. And he ran out of options, so that's why it hurts saying, but we'll see more and more of these kind of aggressive actions from the government.
Tell me more about how you see the end game playing out, because if you say that this regime could get tougher and tougher, at least in a domestic sense, what does that look like? I mean, how much worse does this get?
I can tell you, the things will be getting worse and worse as long as Putin stays in power. Sooner Putin goes, less blood will be spilled. I don't know the end game, and that's bad news because I don't know how and when it happens. The good news, Putin also doesn't know that.